That's all we can play. I don't want to get copyrighted. What's up, guys? Welcome back to, I guess this is a new season of the SadFCDfans podcast. I'm your host, Matt Dool. I'm joined, as most of the time, I guess I can't say as always, by my good friend, Joe Martinez. Joe, how's it going?
I'm doing pretty well. Excited to be back. Excited for a new season. And, yeah, man, just ready to get this rolling.
And we are also joined by, in case you missed the big Friday news dump a couple weeks back, we made a move in the off season. I'm a win now kind of guy, and I got tired of paying all these damn loan fees and went ahead and just brought him in on a permanent. Walter's here, ladies and gentlemen. He's going to be with us for, I guess, the remainder of who knows how long we do this. So Walter, how's it going?
Good, man. How's it going?
Yeah, so we've joined forces. Instead of having him be like one of the only guests we ever have on, I was like, well, I guess it makes more sense at this point to just have him on the damn thing. We've made our
retainer
big three.
fee was. I made a pretty good discount just because I like you guys on the retainer, and then the buyout of my previous contract. It's not exclusive though. For those listeners, so for those that listen at MLS headquarters, I know there's at least one, right?
Yes.
If they need me on their podcast, if MLS needs me on their podcast, then I will join.
Me and my boy Donnie Garbs share DMs all the time, and he's a big fan. Yeah, we will have to probably start a Patreon or something just to be able to afford Walter's wages here.
Yeah.
My kids haven't eaten months.
I took a pay cut.
Sometimes you got to do what you got to do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you guys are getting paid. It's like that's Joe right now.
You got to, unlike Dan Hunt, you got to spend money to make money.
Sometimes. Yeah, I'm spending more on the podcast than the team, so I gotta, we gotta make up for it somehow. But it's been a while since we've done the last episode. I guess Walter, you were on the last.
Was I?
Or I don't even remember. Joe, did we do an episode after? Yeah, we did. We did an off-season episode, right, where we ran down all the signings and stuff that they had made at that point. So since the last time we recorded, really the biggest news was probably that FC Dallas parted ways with Thiago Santos, and he was sold to Grêmio in Brazil, who notably is the team that I believe the team FC Dallas required Brisson from, and I think that's where Andre Zanotto was before he came to Dallas, right? Wasn't he at Grêmio?
Yep.
I believe you're correct, sir.
Yeah. So I guess there's a little connection there between the teams, and I think it came as a bit of a surprise to everyone, and based off of what I heard in quotes from people at the club, it seemed like FC Dallas was a little surprised by the offer too, and they let him go. And what were y'all's immediate reactions whenever it seemed like it came out of nowhere? It was just a weeknight, and you're like, "Oh, I'm hearing Thiago Santos might be on his way to Grêmio." Joe, what was your initial reaction?
Well, my initial reaction was just kind of like, well, there's another really good player we're going to let go. But at the same time, my other reaction to hearing the number 1 million was just like, yeah, you got to let him go at that point. If you're going to make your money back off of a 31-ish-year-old center defensive mid, then you might as well go ahead and do it. He was one of the better players for our team last season, but it looked like his legs...
Apparently they doubled it.
They doubled it? That's... Well, yeah, fees and wages, whatever it is, making your money back on an older CDM is really, really good. But he was one of those players at the end of the season that his legs kind of just fell under him, and you could tell that he really wasn't the same player he was for the first, I guess, 10 games. So I'm really not that mad at it. Plus, then you think about who can play in that position next, and our just like tunnel of just stacked midfield that we have. So I'm okay with it. I'm a little mad because I liked him, but other than that, I'm fine with it. But yeah.
Walter, what were your initial thoughts?
My initial thought was, oh shit, that means Brian Acosta is going to be played more, unless they had somebody in the pipeline. No, kind of, sort of, but no, we're stacked there. Obviously, CDM is not a problem we've had the past couple of seasons. I mean, and you think about not only who we have just on the roster, but who we have at North Texas too. I know Edwin Soria was in the doghouse with Lucci for a bit. Who knows? I don't know why. He just kind of fell out of favor. But glad to see that he's gotten the spotlight in a couple of FC Dallas social media posts. So I think, he's one of the front runners. I mean, who else we got other than Brian Acosta? Tanner Tessman. And I mean, Ricarte can kind of pick that up, but he's a tried and true 10. He's a 10. So, if we decide to, not put any backup for Andres on the midfield, then we could still probably flex the other guys as well. But we're fine. We're fine there. But I mean, just like Joe said, if you're going to get money back on a 30-plus-year-old person, I think how much did we get for him? Almost $1 million.
I think it was like 1 to 1.5 were the rumored numbers, and I think FC Dallas spent under $1 million on him. They said they about doubled what they paid.
And it's a business. So, we say this a lot. The first thing we say about these guys is, I like the guy. I like how he played. And, a lot of people on social media would be mad about letting another player that's been good for the team go, but it's a business at the end of the day. So, and I know it is what it is, man.
Yeah. A lot of people hate, they associate FC Dallas, obviously, though. Anytime you hear, oh, it's a good business move, or their instant reaction is, oh, I don't want to make money. I want to win trophies. It's like, yeah, so does FC Dallas, I'm sure. But there are certain things that come up that I guess you just can't pass up. And y'all know I was the president of the Thiago Santos fan club last year. I got some stick because I said at one point that he was my MVP for that team last season. And like Joe said, he did have a little stretch there where he kind of hit a wall. And I think that was due to last season was pretty much a shit show when it comes to scheduling. And FC Dallas basically playing 2 games every week, and they didn't really rotate many. Some guys did not get rotated at all. Thiago Santos is one of them, where he's, like Joe said, 30, 31 years old, playing 90 minutes twice a week, crazy travel during the summer. And really anyone's probably going to wear down from that. And especially with as much ground and as much as Thiago Santos did for that team. But I thought he was huge for them last year. So initially I was really bummed when I saw that. But the more I thought about it, like you guys said, there's so many guys that can play that spot, and it opens up chance for guys like Tanner Tessman to get more minutes. And like you said, Surrio could maybe get out of the doghouse that he was in last year. And also a guy to not...
And it frees up an international spot too. When you think about that. So, I mean, if they had a DP aspirations of some sort, then that would, well, I mean, not specifically in that regard, but you get another international spot, which is
they did use that international nowadays. Spot like immediately, which a guy we will talk about in a second. But also a guy that I think a lot of people are forgetting is Brandon Sylvania. I know he's not with the team right now. He's on loan. He'll be back in May. Which is crazy to think that's a month away. When I say May, that feels like I'm talking about like 2023. But he's been getting some minutes in the Austrian First Division, and obviously that's not like a top 5 league, but for a young player to get experience like that is huge. And I'm a pretty big fan of his game. I wouldn't count him out. I wouldn't be surprised if he 100% passes Surrio on the depth chart whenever he comes back.
Yeah. But I think he'd probably be top billing for sure.
But yeah, like you guys said, we FC Dallas is stacked in that midfield, and if there really was one spot in the field on the pitch that they could afford to lose a guy, it would probably be the midfield. Although Thiago Santos did kind of play a role that none of the other FC Dallas midfielders seemed to fill, where he was a true like number 6. He was a guy who's going to play deep. The rest of FC Dallas's guys are kind of guys that can play here and there. The Acosta can move throughout the midfield. I think he's best on the bench. Ricarte can play deeper, but like Walter said, I think he's more of a box-to-box, or I prefer him to be further up the field. Surrio is really the only other true 6 on the team. I think Tessman can play there, but I think it's kind of holding him back to play him there. I think he's best as a box-to-box guy. So it'll be interesting to see what they do there. Walter did tease this, but yeah, FC Dallas did gain an international spot by letting go of Thiago Santos, which they pretty much immediately used. I think there was maybe a lot of thoughts that move was to free up the international spot, because we had heard that there were rumors of, well, not really rumors. I guess it's not a rumor if it came from the guy who makes the signings himself. When Zanotto was on with the Dallas Soccer Show guys, he straight up said FC Dallas has a signing ready, and he's a winger, and Santos sale opened up a spot, and we have Shabat Shun. I think I got that okay. Pretty proud of that one.
That's pretty good. That's not bad, actually.
It, but
yeah,
I know the last name is right.
Yeah, it's Shun.
Shabat Shun. He's got the umlaut over the O, so you make like the little puckered. Umlaut. I know German letters pretty well from singing so many songs in German in choir, because I was a choir kid in high school. Not to flex on y'all too hard, ladies. He is Hungarian, though. He's not German. But he's a 21-year-old. Shabat Shun, yeah, he's a 21-year-old Hungarian winger. He has played for some of the Hungarian youth teams. And he's actually having a pretty good year in the Hungarian first division right now. He's got 8 goals and 4 assists in 23 games. For a winger, that's pretty solid production. You know, you're looking at a goal or an assist every other game. Hold on, he's got 7 yellow cards this year. Oh hell yeah, he's got some bastard in him. Those are my kind of stats right there.
He's the Hungarian butcher, man. He's the hunger for more.
When I was a youngster, a Matt Duel hat trick was 2 goals and a yellow card. So it looks like he follows that. I had like 5 yellow cards in an 8-game rec season and 1 red, like all of them for dissent too. Not a proud moment, but good times. So yeah, he's a signing that isn't going to show up until May, because he's joining whenever his club season ends.
Yeah.
Once again, May feels
there's
like
almost a lockout, right?
Next month. So he'll join up around the same time that Brandon Sylvania will, and all the other guys in MLS who got loaned out, because we weren't even sure if we were going to have a season for a little while there. It kind of feels like that was forever ago, but remember that whenever we're like, oh shit, is there going to be a season this year? Fun times.
I remember that.
Yeah, and but they got it done, so that's why the season's starting a little bit later.
I
feels so weird.
I tried to do my homework on him,
I'm used to, like,
and
the first
I couldn't really find
FC Dallas
much.
Season opener being still pretty damn cold.
The only thing that I saw that was noticeable was that he was part of the
early March
U23 squad for Hungary.
Now we're in like mid-April. It's still going to be a little chilly Saturday night.
The only reason why he didn't go to the last games for him was because of COVID.
So that takes.
But I mean, when you look at the stats, 8-4 out of 23 games at the age of, like, I think, what is he, 21? 22? Anybody know? He's only 20. There you go. Yeah, exactly. So at only 20, he's already doing that. He's got a lot of promise. And if we look at the players that we've gotten from that part of the world, they've all been good players. It hasn't exactly worked out, but they've at least all been pretty solid players. And so you talk about Nedyakov, whatever his name was, and Cobra, and both of them produced, just kind of had issues in terms of passport issues or girlfriend issues or playing time. But I mean, they've all been pretty solid, and this kid has promise, has the goals, has been tested. And so, I'm excited for it. Plus, I have faith in Zamota, and so we'll see what happens, man. But yeah, anything you've got, Walter?
That's the thing. Is I'm kind of afraid of whether or not he can hack it on a humid day in Frisco. in the middle of August. So
that's a good point.
You always worry about that. With a lot of, because that's not really the side of the world we get our majority of our players from, that kind of fit the culture of the team and the surrounding area, all that. And I mean, that's not the definition of, a player. Obviously he can do very well. He's young. In a sense, he's still moldable. And obviously there's a ton of upside for him, at only 20 years old, and, he's tearing it up right now. Well, I mean, it's a good business decision. Obviously, I think we can get a good ROI on him if he, decides to go to bigger and better things. I'm just afraid of, can he stick around and make that difference? That's the good thing with when we've been hitting with these players that are going to come back or coming, in the next month or so, is I'm glad they're getting playing time now, because really, we might not see him fully until June or mid-July, as he integrates into the team and integrates into the system. But, it's still exciting to see somebody, young like that come to MLS and, also the team as well.
Yeah, that's one thing that's exciting, or it's also a good sign, or a good thing for FC Dallas, is that he doesn't really have to come in and immediately hit the ground running, because FC Dallas has signed so many wingers in this offseason, where you've got a guy like Freddie Vargas or Hader Obrian, to where there's not a whole lot of pressure on Shun to come in and immediately make an impact. Obviously, FC Dallas wants him to make an impact. It sucks that we don't really know exactly how much they spent on him to really kind of adjust our expectations accordingly, because MLS is so secretive about all amounts for all deals for some reason, and it's incredibly annoying. But yeah, I'm excited about him. He seemed, from like the highlights I've seen, and obviously you always have to take highlights with a grain of sand, because they are what they are. They're highlights. They're not showing all the everything that he does. But he seems like a really direct kind of player, left-footed, I believe, and likes to get shots on goal and run at defenders and put dangerous balls into the box. And I'm excited to see what player, like, what he could do whenever he gets here and gets acclimated, and with him and Vargas, Obrian, a lot of weapons out there for FC Dallas to tinker with. And I tweeted this, I think, last week. I said, FC Dallas in a spot where they don't need all of these guys to be hits. They don't need all of them to come in and produce. They just need one or two of them to be pretty good, and they'll be more than fine. We've been asking for wingers who can score some goals and get some assists and make impacts in that way for years. And guys, Freddie Vargas looks pretty damn badass based off of his preseason showing. So hopefully him and Obrian looks like he's got something to him too. And then with Shun, hopefully at least one or two of them can be real difference makers for FC Dallas. Speaking of the other wingers FC Dallas signed, I guess we're officially at the end of the offseason, as we are approaching day one.
The last 24 hours.
Yeah, I guess
the last 24 hours.
At the time we're recording, we're about 24 hours away from MLS season starting. It's kind of funny that they gave Houston and San Jose the opening game of the year. You think they would have maybe gone for a little bit more sexy of a matchup.
Fucking toilet bowl.
I guess it is it's the OG Austin versus Columbus. It's San Jose versus Houston banter. But so now that the off season is basically over and FC Dallas is likely done making any moves until the summer window, I guess the MLS window is still open to where they could bring in some guys if they wanted to, but it seems like Lucci has been saying that they're pretty
sure.
happy with what they've got now.
I mean, I can go for
like
an 85.7 or something
all
if
the
you want me to do that.
they opened up,
but
are pretty much been directly replaced.
I've been thinking.
So
I've been thinking about this. I would say a B plus. I was gonna give it an A,
a letter,
or maybe even an A plus. But I was really hoping that this was the offseason in which we were like, okay, COVID is rampant. A lot of teams are bleeding. How about we take advantage of that and get a really big signing? But we never really did. And we don't know how much we spent on Shun, so we can't really call that our biggest signing yet or anything. But if you look at all of the signings, all of the departures, I would say we did a B plus. The Reynolds deal got done. Barrios, Pico, we love them. We appreciate what they did, but they needed to be washed out a little bit. We brought in new blood. Vargas looks pretty solid. O'Brien looks pretty good. I would say Shun could be something big, but I mean, this offseason I would put it as a B plus. That's what I'm grading it.
Walter, I'm going to jump in there just because I was basically going to say the exact same thing Joe said. I was also going to go B plus. The only reason I wouldn't give it an A or A minus or anything like that is just because of the Santos departure and the questions around that. But Walter, you can go ahead and give yours now.
I'm more harsh on the grading, which I know is not a surprise to you. I mean, this is SadFCD fans, so
you're right. I'm getting off brand.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. Joe touched on the fact that there's a ton of teams bleeding. We have money in the coffer still from the Reggie sale, from Brian Reynolds, from Thiago Santos leaving, upon other people that have left, and all basically transactions that go with being in MLS with all the wham bams and thank you ma'ams. When you have somebody like Bobby Wood that's been floating out there in a position that we've been needing for a while, I'm not saying he's going to be the magic bullet, but that's that you still have to address the stuff off the field, and that is putting rears to seats when the time comes to go to full capacity. So it's a very huge missed opportunity to get somebody big. I'm not saying splash $9 million on somebody. But we know there's money in the coffers. We know there's money in there. So, go out and see who you can find. But that was the first name that came to mind to me when Joe said that, there was an opportunity to get a big name. Bobby Wood is huge in the U.S. fan base. He's done pretty well, for the U.S. national team in recent years. So that could have been somebody, but that's just an example. But, we got a midfielder. We got a winger. We got two forwards out of O'Brien and out of Shun. So that was the biggest thing that I think that we needed to address. We're always one forward away from MLS contention, and I think that can kind of up your game a little bit, especially if Shun pays out, especially if O'Brien pays out, if Vargas pays out. So B minus. I think it was still pretty good acquisitions. We held on to the people that we needed to hold on to. With depth comes competition within the roster that elevates everybody else, and that's what you want to see as a coach. So,
Walter, I'll give you $20 if Bobby Wood scores more goals than Franco Jara this year. That's how confident I am in the mediocrity of Bobby Wood.
RSL's not bad. Not bad. On paper, they are not bad. So I will take you up $20 right now.
$20, Franco Jara. I would almost say handsomely scores more goals than him, but who knows?
You think so?
I don't know. I guess injuries and stuff could play a part, but I'm saying right now, Franco Jara will score more goals than Bobby Wood this year.
Okay,
that's my
we'll run it back.
That's not a homer thing. I'm not a big Franco Jara guy. I really don't rate Bobby Wood highly.
And I am, when I was more of a avid Liga MX watcher, like Franco Jara was the leading goal scorer in Liga MX before he left. So I'll take that bet, $20. Let's go.
I do think Jara, with the preseason under him, and a lot of people, I feel like he's always going to have to live up to the price tag of just, he's making $1 million a year. Anytime you hear the term $1 million a year for anyone in MLS, especially FC Dallas, you're going to be held to a much higher standard than guys on other guys on your team who are making, say, $400K. For a guy you're spending $1 million a year on, you expect him to be like an MVP caliber player. He's not that. He's not going to be a guy who. He's not even a guy who really is going to create for himself much. He's a guy who's just going to be hanging around the box, trying to poach some goals here and there. And I honestly was impressed with his preseason in the sense of he looked like he was fit. and he looked a little quicker than I saw plenty of last year. He was busting his ass, pressing dudes all over the field from all the preseason I watched, and I loved seeing that, seeing him buying into what Lucci wants in terms of FC Dallas's pressing. I was really impressed by him in the Houston game. I was impressed by him in the other preseason games too, even though he didn't get on any goals, and he had a couple bad misses in that. I guess it was just one bad miss in the San Antonio game, but he scored a really nice goal in that Houston game. Him and Freddie Vargas just playing some 2-man ball right there, and Franco smacked one in with his left foot from outside the box. But I think he could maybe surprise some people this year, and I guess I'll make a prediction. I think he scores
15?
Nah, not that many. I'll go like 12. I'll go like 12.
Okay.
Because I think he'll get rotated a lot. I think he'll get rotated a lot.
No, and that's a huge thing is you have a lot of people who are out on international duty. You get a lot of it's a more compact schedule. Between here and playoffs, obviously with us starting all the way pretty much halfway into April, for sure. And we have other forwards. Pepe's going to be brought into the rotation. Hader's going to be brought into the rotation. So
Jesus, even whenever he's healthy.
Jesus, yeah. Once he gets that shoulder fixed,
he's got a little. Yeah, he's. I don't think he's going to be given that long of a leash really this year. I think he's going to have to score goals. I don't think FC Dallas is going to keep playing him just to play him. I think they're more than confident in guys like Pepe and Jesus to play that spot. But I think he's going to have a good year, and I think he might surprise some people. But speaking of predictions, the Extra Time MLS Extra Time radio, if you ever listen to that that's the one with Andrew Weeb and stuff like that, right? Yeah. Their Twitter account put out this thing that says predict your club season.
I think we're going to be better than
so I thought it'd be fun
most people expect.
Just kind of ran through it. I saw a lot of people on Twitter.
They're not going to be paying attention to guys like Freddie Vargas or I feel like a lot of people
finish. So where do you think FC Dallas finishes in the Western
Freddie
Conference
Vargas
at the end of the regular season, Joe?
Knowing that Tessman is going to be a lot better than he was last year, and that Martinez is actually one of the more underrated acquisitions of the MLS offseason. I feel like we were probably going to end up around that 3 or 4 seed. No, Martinez is the center back. Berto's replacement, yeah. Yeah, but I have full confidence in that pairing of him and Matt Hedges will gel really well because they both seem to be more cerebral, and he's a little bit taller.
He's a CDM, right?
Lengthy in his legs, so where he can catch some of those guys a little bit quicker because he was really fast, kind of like Matt Hedges.
That's right.
But I'm really excited to see that tandem really solidify and that defense be as good as it was last year, but with an upgraded offense and like more creativity from our wingers and center attacking mids and stuff like that. So my whole thing is now I think we can get that 3 or 4 seed. Yep. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's bold. 3 or 4.
Okay.
Walter, I'm assuming you're going to go lower. Just kidding.
No. So had it been a regular MLS season, I probably would have put him at 5th, but I'm going to put him at 4th just because comparatively speaking, obviously your top 3 contenders are always going to be, SKC, Seattle, Portland. All right. And maybe a wild card of LAFC, LA Galaxy.
Did you call LAFC a wild card?
Yeah, because you don't know what them. This is not an LAFC podcast. If this was an LAFC podcast, I'd be gushing over them. You know this.
The LAFC scarf behind your head says differently.
Well, you can't see that. It's just one. Let's see. Hold on. Let's see. There's 1, 2. Okay, there's just one. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. A bunch of FCD scarves. Anyway, but you also have to take into consideration that the East is a pretty strong conference, and we're not playing them as much this year.
Yeah,
we only have
2 games against conference teams all season. It's crazy.
2 games, and you're talking about playing up against a bolstered Atlanta. Orlando under Poppy has been fantastic. Your Torontos, your occasional Red Bulls, NYCFC. So that's going to help them. I think higher up in the standings is Columbus. Oh yeah, absolutely. Columbus, yeah. So when you look at the East and how the East is stacked, and the fact that we don't have to play them as much, I'll put FCD higher this year at 4th.
Wow, I feel like I'm gonna be the negative Nancy now.
6, just squeaking in.
No, 7 make the playoffs, or is it how many make the playoffs this year?
Yeah,
7. Right? 7. No, I'm gonna go 5. They were 7 last year, right? Or 6, yes. 7.
They're 7 this year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think they improved, but I don't know. It's really hard to tell with how much international stuff is going on this summer. That's going to play a big part, and especially for the U.S. with the amount of competitions they're playing. You know, the Gold Cup team is probably going to be all MLS guys, so it'll be curious.
There goes Jesus. There goes Jesus.
Yeah,
there goes
I don't know how young they'll go, but if they do try to play a younger team, we could see maybe like Jesus go. Costa will be gone, so that'll help us win a couple more games. I love just throwing little tiny.
Hey, stats don't lie though. I like the stats that you threw about how much the team performs when he's not on the field. So numbers don't lie.
I'm trying to think of who else on our team international duty wise.
You think maybe? Let's see. I don't. No. I was going to say because let's see.
Maybe actually that might be a plus.
Is South America? When's the South American?
When's Copa America?
Yeah,
like every continental one is basically this summer.
And I mean, I don't know if our new acquisitions are people that are going to be called up. I don't know if Obrian is going to be called up.
No, I don't think we have to worry about like
Ricardo's not going to. Yeah, Ricardo's not going to get called up.
Maybe that actually could be a plus for FC Dallas whenever. I think we've got really good depth, and I think obviously Jara's not going to be called up to Argentina. Ricarte and Obrian aren't going to Colombia. Let's see who else. I don't think we have to. Obviously, Martinez isn't going to Spain. Ryan, I doubt the U.S. will call up, even though he's been robbed of national team call ups over the years. He's getting a little too old now to where it wouldn't really make much sense to start calling him up now. Jimmy, obviously, same thing. I think maybe actually FC Dallas could benefit from other teams losing guys due to international duty. So I'm going to go 5th. 5th is my prediction. I think they're going to improve from last year, so they'll be a little more comfortably in the playoffs. I think it's going to be a really interesting season still with COVID playing a part for some of it, although hopefully we're kind of getting towards the end of that. We did see FC Dallas posting guys getting vaccinated and stuff like that. So hopefully that means less guys missing time due to COVID and all that. But I'm going to go 5th. And now I feel like I was expecting y'all to say like 6th or 5th, but Joe's going 3rd or 4th, man. That's bold.
Yeah.
Just for fun, who do you guys have let's say pick your first place in the East and first place in the West. Just I'm curious.
I got Portland first. Mm-hmm. And that may be biased because I've seen how they're doing in CCL, but that's they're I think they've kept a lot of the same people that help them in their MLS's back run, and then in the playoffs as well. And then you got damn it, why can I remember his name? Diego Valeri staying, and then Sebastian Blanco's supposed to be coming back soon too. So I got Portland in the West. I would maybe say
I'm feeling LAFC
in the East.
Orlando
in the West.
Some poppy.
Can't really count out
get Carol DK back anytime soon.
And
no, they're not going to get DK back. They're going to sell him
$20 million for him.
$20 million
in the East. I'm going to go ahead with. That one's a little tough, but I was thinking Columbus again.
Joe, who you
just because if Zela Rayan is healthy,
West.
they're just going to run over mostly anybody that comes against them. And maybe in my dark horse is Atlanta. Atlanta comes out and they just play like Tata Martino again. but I'm gonna pick Columbus if I was a betting man. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
Columbus are my front runners to win MLS Cup again this year. I think they got even better over the offseason, and they were already really good. And like even tonight, like in their Champions League, they're not playing very well. They're tied 0-0 still in the second half, but they're playing like a pretty rotated lineup, and even that rotated lineup is pretty damn good. To where you got a guy like Bradley Wright Phillips and Perry Kitchen, I think, is a guy that isn't going to normally be a starter for them, but those guys as depth pieces, I think they're even better than they were last year, and they were pretty damn good last year. And then in the West,
I'm gonna put Galaxy as my dark horse.
Yeah,
for the West. I like the dark horse pick.
There's no way they can be worse than last year.
Yeah, there's no way. You want to talk about? I'm looking at the Eastern and Western Conference, and you kind of look at the teams and you think about all the all basically how elevated MLS has gotten within the past 2 or 3 years. Mm-hmm. You want to talk about parity in the league? There's a lot of parity in this league.
Even
even
like Cincinnati, like could be a pretty good team this year. They made some good moves, and they've been like
really
a laughing
big
stock for a couple of years, but they could actually be decent this year. For the West, by the way, I'm also going LAFC. Yeah. I think.
Oh no, I went Galaxy. I went Galaxy.
Yeah, I was saying with
they have to focus on Joe.
Had the exact same picks as Joe, LAFC, and Columbus. But
first in the West.
Yeah, the Galaxy. I actually thought about saying that maybe as like a dark horse, but I don't know. Like I'm trying to remember if their defense is so shit. Every year though, they spend all their money on attacking.
Well, that dude's going to jail, dude.
Yeah. Like I don't think there's any chance Chicharito is as bad as he was last year. Like he's too good to be a guy who scores like 2 goals. I think he'll get double digits this year. I don't necessarily think he's going to be like MVP candidate, but they don't have Pavone either, which is a huge loss. That dude's a baller. Yeah, that too. They did sign a couple guys from the French second division, but I'm assuming they'll probably be pretty decent, but I don't know how good they will be. If they're probably hoping to turn into Alessandrini 2.0, who, by the way, FC Dallas should have gone out and made a chance on. The Chinese league is in shambles, and probably looking to get rid of any big contracts they could.
Yeah. Yep.
He is like 31 now, but I would kick the tires, take a chance on it.
And you pay $750 for him? Why not?
I guess, but then you have to do the whole allocation thing. Since he's an MLS guy coming back, FC Dallas would have to trade a bunch of stuff to get up to the top of the allocation and shit like that. All right, so the next thing on the list was the MVP of the team. So who is your prediction for FC Dallas MVP?
I hope so. I hope you're right.
2021 year. Walter, you can go first this time since I've been letting Joe go first all the time.
Paxton Pomacall.
I don't know if you're doing a bit or not.
I'm not doing a bit.
Whoa.
No, I'm not doing a bit. That was my actual factual prediction. That's the kind of player. Look, because you have to think about aspirations in FC Dallas, and then everything that basically that injury has cost them. Being on either U.S. roster, whether it be, for the Olympic qualifiers or for Gold Cup this year, he might have made there's a midfielder that was needed for depth. He might have been fourth down the roster, but that's still valuable experience. You could kind of tell it's like this with every player. There's that hunger to come back and come out and come back stronger and play. And so I think he's shown that as a number 10, he is able to fulfill and exceed in that role. I mean, you think about how different FC Dallas looked when he was on the field, and then he got injured, and then look at us off when he's done on the field. So that's your difference maker. The kid is obviously gifted. We know this. He's a good puppet master. We know this as well. I think he comes back stronger. I think he makes that difference.
Well, just first on the Paxton thing, I really hope that happens. That's the best case scenario. That's the
put him on. That's healthy. He's maybe not even here anymore.
Right there.
He's
I'm gonna say my boring one, and then I'm gonna say my second. He may very well be gone. But the one that we all know will happen is gonna be Matt Hedges because he's a rock.
Joe, what's your MVP?
That's the dude, and that's been the same for like the past 7 seasons.
Yeah, I think everyone.
My dark horse MVP is Freddie Vargas. And he comes in, the dude has, I don't know, like 9 goals and 9 assists or something crazy like that. And he's just that rock up front that just bruises through people. He's stronger than most people think. He's faster than most people think. He's actually, from the first couple of preseason games that I've seen him, obviously that's a really small sample size, but he seems more creatively sound than a lot of our wingers have been in the last couple of seasons. He looks like he's more intelligent in his runs and finding the space and then playing the ball where it needs to be. And even at times he looks like a second striker or like a cam or even a center mid at times. So I'm really excited to see what he does. And that's my dark horse MVP, that he comes out, he gets like 8 goals, like 6 assists, and he turns this offense around this season, because it really can't get much worse than it was last season. Yeah. Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Joe and I were texting each other during the Houston preseason game and fanboying over Freddie Vargas. The dude's a baller, man. And like Joe said, like I'm a little surprised by, well, one, I didn't realize how freaking big he was until he got here. The dude is a tank. I thought he was like 5'7" or so. But he's huge and buff, and like Joe said, he isn't just like visibly like strong. He's like actually will run through you. He's got incredible balance, speed, everything you would want in a winger who like likes to take guys on. He has, to where he's got a really quick first step, and then guys try to body him off, and he's just so big where he just bounces right off the challenge and keeps going. He's a freight train, and like Joe said, I'm a little surprised as to how polished he looks. I was expecting him to be a little more raw.
Yeah, I didn't know if we were going to add that or not. But
just a young guy with a lot of potential, but maybe isn't quite there in the final third. But his ability in the final third has been really surprising to me, to where we've seen some good goals from him and some assists in preseason, and I'm really excited about him. I guess I'll go.
He's my pick for newcomer of the year, if we want to add that list on there too.
Shout out to the SCD
not one of them, but yeah, I'll go with a similar format to Joe. I'll pick like a dark horse, and then like a maybe more normal one. So dark horse.
How about I didn't pick a dark horse. Sylvania
for Bayern B squad.
So there we go. Yeah,
such a play the kids guy.
No, I'm not. That's the thing too. Listen, I'm trying something new for 2021.
Walter's gonna pick Justin Che as his breakout player.
Justin Che. Eddie Manjuma. Let's go.
Oh man. Yeah. He did get his debut. Dark horse player. I like Joe said, I'm a big Freddie Vargas fan so far, and hopefully the preseason is a good indicator of what the regular season will be like, and we're not a couple months from now thinking, remember how good Freddie Vargas was during the preseason? I miss preseason Vargas. A more traditional pick, I think Ricarte is really going to step it up this year, and him being here the entire season, being a little more comfortable. I think a big thing for him that a lot of people don't really take into account when thinking about professional athletes is he's got his wife and his kid here in the country with him now. He's not here on his own in a new country without his family. And especially during COVID, where he, isn't really allowed to do much socializing, that's tough on on a guy mentally to be just locked in I don't even know if he has what kind of place he was staying in, but just to be stuck in your house all alone in a country away from your family and your friends. But I've heard from people around the team that he looks like a completely different player this preseason, that he seems to be more engaged. And I mean, we saw how good he was. If last year, him being maybe not that engaged, if he's that good, then a fully bought in and fully engaged Andres Ricarte is an absolute danger to the rest of the league. We saw in the Houston game a couple of moments of brilliance that he's capable of. That goal that Ryan got came from him hitting a pass that I swear cut out 7 defenders and just split the middle and fell right to Ryan. And yeah, I think he can step it up and hopefully step it up and get on the score sheet more. But a lot of the stuff he does maybe doesn't show up in goals and assists, but just pulling the strings and just really just dictating the game and playing at his own pace. He's so fun to watch. He's so damn good on the ball. And like the way he uses his body is like what you would show kids. Like, look, you don't have to be the biggest, strongest dude to use your body well. Just watch what Andres Ricarte does. He just steps in front of guys, just uses his body to shield the ball. And, you know, he looks like he might as well be 6'5", 230, all muscle, trying to get him off the ball by the way he uses his body. So I'm excited about a full season of hopefully a happier, more bought-in Andres Ricarte. He has a private Instagram account that he accepted my follow request to. So now we're pretty much best friends.
There you go.
And so for your Defender of the Year, Joe, you said, I think, are we all going to say Hedges or? Yeah, I'm going to say I'm really excited about Jose Martinez. I think he's, I think he's the kind of signing I've been wanting FC Dallas to make for years. A guy who isn't a starter in a top 5 league, but is in the team, and he comes here and he's only 28. You know, he's still in the prime of his career. It's not like Reto's case, you know, where he's a little past it. And but he's the resume for him is what I'm really excited about. But also in the preseason, I thought he looked really good, and he's really good playing out of the back. He was a perfect replacement for what Reto gave the team, and they needed a left-footed center back who can play out of the back, and they got exactly that. I mean, hell, he played for Barcelona B. Like, he knows how to play out of the back. If there's anything he's learned, it's how to play out of the damn back. But yeah, I'm really excited about him. I think Ryan will have another good year. I mean, it'll be interesting to see which side of the field he freaking plays on. But yeah, everyone Hedges, and
this is actually kind of
I'm going to pick Hedges too. But I think him and Jose Martinez, like Joe mentioned earlier, I think that's going to be a really fun partnership to see.
I'm going to go for
terrorize some MLS attacks.
That's because he's going to be probably
and,
on
so
the
Golden
team
Boot,
for the most time.
He's going to win the FC Dallas Golden Boot
because he's not going to play for Argentina. He's probably going to get better. He'll get better service than he did last season, but I don't think he's going to score like 15 goals or 20 goals. I think he'll get closer to 9 or 10. But that'll be just enough because we're going to be spreading the goals around to different players. And like Ferreira's going to end up with 6. Pepe's going to end up with 6 or 7.
Don't count
Vargas with, hopefully 7 or 8 type of thing. Haddad getting some tap ins or something. So I think the goal tally for our Golden Boot won't be super high, but I think it's going to be Hada.
Walter.
I was really hoping for Shun. And he's going to have maybe a month or 2 to catch up with everybody. But if he's as good as his tape shows, and we actually play him, then yeah, Shun.
It's a boring pick, but I'm also going to go Hara. Like Joe said, I don't think he's going to score 20 goals this year, but I don't think we need him to. I think the way FC Dallas has built a team this year is that hopefully other positions like their wingers can actually supply some goals to where it doesn't all rest on Hara to be the only guy who can score goals or freaking Ryan Hollingshead. So So hopefully the wingers can pitch in some goals. What did I say earlier? 12 is my my target 12? For Franco. He's going to be on penalties too. I think that's a pretty easy bet if you're bet on who's going to score the most goals in FC Dallas. But I think Vargas could maybe be a guy who gets up there and maybe 7, 8, 9 goals. I think, like Joe said, Jesus and Pepe will get some when they play. And I'm gonna go Franco there. But so you're under 22 player of the year.
I was kind of hoping he wasn't included, so I could pick somebody else.
How old is Vargas? Vargas is like 21, right?
22.
22. We'll count him. We'll count him as under 22. Joe is
he just turned 22.
Yeah, so then we'll count him as under 22.
If we're gonna pick young, I'm just gonna name it the young player award.
Under 22 player of the year.
I'm gonna go Tessman. But I'm really even though we just talked about our 6 wingers, I'm really excited to see what Sealy does this year.
I'm assuming if he gets more minutes,
if he can add some flair that he had last season. We'll go instead of 6 minutes, it's 30 minutes hopefully. But I'm really excited to see what Sealy does. But I'm gonna pick Tessman because I think he's gonna have a good, 20-ish games, and then some team in Germany is gonna be like, yeah, we'll pay $7 million to take him off your hands. So that's my guy right there, Tessman.
Walter, who's your
player? I was gonna pick Tessman too, just because he's more complete. I think in terms of what he could provide, he has really good service up front, but he's also a really strong on the defense as a midfielder. So I was gonna pick Tessman too, just because I think he's my best all around young guy.
Yeah, we're kind of being boring here, but I was also gonna say. Y'all know I'm a huge Tanner Tessman fan. I think he should have been a starter last year more. Even in the incredibly disappointing Olympic qualifying tournament, when he came on in the semifinal game, he was hands down the best player on the field for the U.S. He was the only player who seemed unscared of the moment, and he came on and was just demanding the ball in really advanced positions and making things happen. The kid's got incredible confidence. I've kind of teased him in the past for being a little bit arrogant. Like, for example, he didn't like the Frank the Tank nickname. I found out his name was Francis Tanner Tessman because that was what CONCACAF put out when they released the official rosters. They put all their like legal names. And we've been sitting here calling him Tanner the Tank the entire time. The dude's name is fucking Frank. It was perfect the entire time. We're calling him Tanner the Tank, and we had Frank the Tank right there. So I said, Frank the Tank, we're making it happen. And I was told from someone who spoke to Tanner himself that he wanted us to cut it out with the Francis and Frank crap. He didn't like that name. So maybe not Tanner Tessman's best friend, but Frank the Tank, I think, is going to have a good year. I really hope he gets a lot of starter minutes. I hope he's the one they kind of hand the keys to in terms of trying to replace Santos. But like Joe said, I could easily see him having a big year, and then he's the next one that we're talking about making the move from FC Dallas to a big league. And I think
can I add to the discourse for the nicknames first though?
It's not many 19-year-olds who are as physically gifted.
This whole new revamp has been
Tanner
something
Tessman.
That we desperately needed.
And technically, he's not just.
I think we need to work on our names, man.
All physical guy that
Tanner the Tank is a little.
And I'm really excited to see what he can do this year.
I thought Big Bad Brian was a little weak too, but hey, that's a little. But everybody likes that. Everybody likes that. But I thought it was really. I thought branding wise, I was like, come on, we can do better than this. But anyways, we also. Yeah, and that's. Maybe I guess I'm the Debbie Downer in this situation, but I thought we could do better than that.
Yeah, it was weak.
I I really thought if you're gonna give somebody a nickname, there's so many better things than that. But anyways, what we also have to think about in terms of Testman and all of our midfielders and like Ryan Hollingshead and even Johnny Nelson is that we're starting to play more of like a 3-4-3 as well,
with their
which is switching up the formation, which is switching up players' positions a little bit more and moving players into different spots. And so we don't really have to play that CDM role that we have had in the past because we don't have that pivot anymore. And so that means more minutes for Testman, Sylvania, and more of their natural 8 and 7 roles. So I thought that was pretty interesting that we could talk about it a little bit too, or at least something that I'm excited to see, because that event's going to bombard our offense forward and have possibly like 5 guys into the opposition's third at times. But yeah, sorry, I just kind of want to throw that in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good point. Though, where we're still not even entirely sure what kind of formation FC Dallas is like their preferred formation. We saw them switch kind of back and forth between 3 at the back and then the traditional like 4-3-3 during preseason. I think in the San Antonio game on the road, the one that didn't count for FC Dallas's La Copita standings, but did count for San Antonio. FC Dallas played that like 3-4-3, and they tied 0-0. And so I was thinking, in the entire game when I was watching, I was like, they just don't look comfortable in this. And then they went back to the 4-3-3 and played San Antonio again and beat the hell out of them. Played the 4-3-3 against Austin, looked really good for about 50 minutes, and then they really just had that like 15-minute period where they just kind of collapsed against Austin, ended up tying it and then winning a shootout. But then they went back to the 3-4-3 against Houston and looked incredible. So I don't think Lucci's really decided yet as to what is preferred. And we've seen him in years past kind of in certain games go with like a 5 at the back and then other games with a 4-3-3. I'm not a fan of it. I don't really like having 2 completely different play styles depending on your opponent. I think you kind of have your style and you just try to impose that. And if you're going to commit to, playing a possession style, then I think you go for that. But I think maybe the 3-4-3 might be our best bet going forward. But we can get into that more whenever we're talking about the Colorado preview. There's one more thing here on the list. Well, I guess 2 more, but really they kind of go hand in hand. So it's the playoff finish. We all agreed that FC Dallas, we're going to go to the playoffs in terms of our predictions for their seed. But where does FC Dallas finish in the playoffs, Walter? Be honest.
That's a good question. I haven't thought about it. I was just more worried about getting into the playoffs. Because that's usually a conversation I would probably say for the summer, if we can get over our traditional summer slump. The West, I mean, the thing about the West is all the playoff teams that seem to make it into the playoffs are really, really good. And we always get stuck with fucking Seattle
or Portland.
I don't think we'll make it to MLS Cup. I don't think there's still something missing, I think, or a couple of things missing on this team. And it might be a combination of experience. It might be a combination of a lot of these players that we've brought in.
Yeah, if I'm going to look, I don't know, 7 months
that are difference makers may not be fully integrated into the team.
That we'll
may take some time to develop chemistry.
Which means
I think we're out the first round
for the first round. So I think we will get past
Joe,
that's my
what's
prediction.
Your playoff prediction?
I think the second round is where it gets tough, just because of the fact that the top 3-ish, 4-ish teams, we're gonna run into a Seattle, Portland, or LAFC in the second round, and the biggest differences between FC Dallas and those types of teams is their ceiling is just a lot higher. So the things that we're gonna need are a lot of ifs. If our center backs gel well,
probably going to run it.
If our wingers become as good as we want them to be, then there's kind of like one of those things where you can possibly win it all. You can get hot at the right time, but just ceiling wise, those teams are still better. They still have Vela, they still have Lodero, they still have Valeria, they still have all of those guys that FC Dallas didn't want to go and get over the summer. So I'm excited to say that we'll get past the first round, but I think we'll get knocked out second round. And that's me being optimistic, but I'll watch every single game regardless. Woo! Ooh! Gee.
Guys, FC Dallas is going to make it to the Western Conference Finals this year. That's my bold.
Okay.
If you're going with the general,
Sure.
if you're going with the general trend of how things have gone, so FC Dallas, Lucci's first year, lose to Seattle in the first round. Pretty good showing, but they lost in the first round. So out first round. Last year, they stole one in Portland in the playoffs. So they're in the second round. And then we're kind of unlucky to lose to Seattle in that in the second round. They're a Michael Barrios post away from maybe taking that one to extra time. So I think they're going to win in the second round this year. Keep progressing slowly, and then I think FC Dallas will make it to the Western Conference Finals. I think they've got a couple more pieces than they did last year. I think they're, like I've said earlier, I think they're going to be a better team than they were last year. I think, like Walter said, they'll probably inevitably have that little summer swoon. So that's why I didn't really pick them to finish like a 2, 3, 4 seed. So, but I think they can maybe get hot, and who knows? Maybe they make a big move during the summer window, whenever that Brian Reynolds money comes in, because that's when Roma pays up. Technically it's like a loan for now, but they'll get that big chunk of Reynolds cash. Guys, we could be looking at a big chunk of Chris Richards cash, because I think FC Dallas has a 40% sell on there, and Hoffenheim want him from Bayern. If they sell him, we could be looking at another couple $1 million coming in for FC Dallas. Could be maybe looking at another Reggie cash in. I think there's a really good chance he's moving this summer. Boavista are having a pretty rough year, but he's been one of their bright spots. So there's gonna be a lot of money to play with. FC Dallas still has a DP spot open, I believe. Obviously, they don't have an international spot now, but those things can always be taken care of, either like via trade, or maybe someone gets a green card before then. So I think they'll have a chance to make a big splash this summer. And Sergio Aguero's coming to Dallas. Just kidding. Walter, where he needs to go is LAFC. That would be awesome. And they could really use a striker. And they should have got Miami. Yeah, he probably would go there before he'd go. Well, but I mean, they already have Higuain.
No, I'm on the train now too. But, we're going to win the whole damn thing, man. That's what it is. You know
about this year for FC Dallas. I'm excited. I'm excited in their.
We're going to break 20
I was told
cents,
this was the SadFCDfans podcast, and that's why I signed up.
I'm an FC Dallas fan before I am a FC Dallas hater. Y'all know I'm a big FC Dallas fanboy.
Yeah, I was excited when it was at like 6 cents. But
FCD to the moon.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, we're about to break 20 cents. We did not. We're at 27 right now.
I told mine. We were the Dogecoin brothers back when it first popped up. Remember, we were planning on buying FC Dallas with our Doge.
It's at 27. It's at 27 cents right now. By the way,
what?
This moment is brought to you by Dogecoin. Dogecoin to the fucking moon.
Really went
anyway.
27. Went up like 10 cents while we've been recording. The last one was just the number of trophies. Do you guys think FC Dallas will win any trophy? I don't know. The Open Cup is such a shit show this year, to where the first 3 weeks of the season decide the 8 teams that qualify for the U.S. Open Cup. So, I mean, if FC Dallas gets in, I mean, they've got a pretty damn good chance of winning it, I guess, depending on how seriously, they take it in terms of the lineups they play. But
hold on, you said hold on because I haven't really looked at Open Cup. You said the standings.
Yes.
Is it general standings or is it by conference, like 4 and 4?
I believe it's by conference. So the top 4 from each conference, according to the first 3 weeks of the regular season, qualify for the.
So we play Colorado, San Jose, and Portland.
Portland will likely be resting all their players since it's between.
Because of CCL.
Yeah. San Jose.
We play San Jose away, so that's kind of it.
Could probably get a tie there, at least.
Yeah. 5-5 draw.
Yeah,
that's such a missed opportunity.
I think FC Dallas couldn't make it, but I don't know. It's such a shit show, though. I don't know why they even bothered doing it this year. It's
La Copita was done better than
that. Yeah, I was gonna say, are we counting La Copita as a trophy? Because I think FC Dallas wins that.
If it was in the form of an armadillo, then yeah, but it wasn't. So no, it doesn't count.
I mean, we joked about this, but I genuinely think it's just as big of a tournament as the Canadian Championship, so it should be an automatic CCL berth.
A CCL berth.
Yeah, I don't think FC Dallas is going to win any trophies this year. Obviously, it's Supporters Shield. Are they doing it this year? It would be dumb if they did. If no one's even playing the other conference. But
one trophy for MLS Cup.
I think I saw that they tweeted something earlier. I don't know, but that whole thing last year was just a shit show too with the Supporter Shield. But yeah, I don't think FC Dallas won any trophies. I'm assuming y'all are probably on the same boat. No trophies for FCD this year.
No trophies
besides La Copita.
Yeah.
All right. just casually throw that one in there. A little old thing called MLS Cup. Man, if FC Dallas wins MLS Cup, I'm licking everything in sight. Everyone's vaxxed up by October, November.
You have to change that handle now, man.
Yeah, vaxxed up FCD fan. All right, so I guess we can go ahead and look forward to. It's crazy. FC Dallas season starts in 2 days from recording. Colorado, the Colorado Rapids coming into Frisco with the return of Michael Barrios. Kellen, we're so used to playing against him now, but 2 former FCD guys there. But really the story is Michael Barrios making his return. And it's kind of fitting that the first game of the year is against Colorado after they trade him. But Walter, you said you've been digging into Colorado nonstop for the last 82 hours straight, correct?
That is actually correct.
What do you have for
it? It was 81.
Oh, okay.
It was 81 hours. It was 81 hours, but I know. I had to take a shower in the middle of it, so I'm sorry. Going 3+ days without a shower was kind of getting old with the wife. So now, anyway, no. They got Shinya Shiki again this year, which was pretty good forward for them. They got Sam Vines,
good player,
which very good player in the Olympic qualifying. Cole Bassett,
Jonathan Lewis.
They got. They're a lesser FC Dallas in terms of.
They got some good young guys.
Talent on the field, and then it could be tight. It could be tight. I really haven't paid attention to anything Colorado has done in the off season. I know they had a couple of games here and there, but nothing like La Copita. So they're getting better. They're obviously they did pretty well last year. I think in terms of their metrics, I guess, which are lower bar than ours, I would say.
I think they finished
tight game.
I think they finished 6, right?
Technically, 6 or 7. I don't think they made it into the playoffs.
No, they did. They did. They were ahead of FC Dallas.
They
were all the points per game thing. I think they were.
That's
6.
right, because they had technically less games, but that's right.
They had
very good point.
5 less games, I think, than FC Dallas, something like that. Yeah, they got estimated by COVID, but yeah.
If you want to talk about some of the most similar teams in MLS as a whole to FC Dallas, I would probably say Colorado Rapids. So it's a toss-up. FC Dallas on paper looks better, I think, with their acquisitions. Just combing over the roster of Colorado. Kellen Acosta we know Kellen Acosta very well, can affect both sides of the field, plays a little bit more forward with Colorado than he did with us. I don't think he's so much as a box to box. But Kellen's been doing really well. I'm happy for him, as a former FCD player, and then with US aspirations.
Just like Walter said, they're kind of like constructed almost very similarly to FC Dallas.
Good game for the neutrals to watch.
A DP striker that's been kind of lacking lately, and
3-2 FCD
underachieving, whether it's due injuries or
Joe
play.
Joe, you
and
got
Rubio, and so they're kind of hoping he comes back and does his
Colorado
thing. They have a lot of young players that are actually getting a lot of caps, like Sam Vines and Cole Bassett, and they have a few more academy players that are coming through. Shinashiki is one of those weird players was rookie of the year, but you don't really know if he's like Daryl DK level rookie of the year type player ceiling wise, but he's at least an MLS player that can contribute to any MLS team. I am thinking more of like a 3-1 win. I think we'll be more open, but I think we'll dominate the game in terms of possession. But Colorado is one of those teams where nobody knows or cares that they exist, but when they beat you, they can just beat you on any night. You know what I'm saying? Like any night they can get a result versus anybody, but at the same time, nobody really cares that they exist. Kind of like FC Dallas. So, but opening night or opening day at FC Dallas is always very positive for us. We always come out and at least score a couple of goals. And I think with this offense and this preseason, we're going to put 3 past them, and maybe they'll get one and make it an interesting game, but we'll put one away in the 80th minute.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's a 3-1. Yeah.
Whoa. So
all right, down to the minutes. Shit.
What was the score?
You said 3-1.
Okay.
3-1.
I'm gonna go 2-1 FCD. I think it's gonna be a really entertaining game. I think Colorado's a good team, and I think they got better over the offseason. I think it's gonna be a tight one.
Mm-hmm.
Like Joe said, they're a team that a lot of people don't really pay much attention to, but I've seen some of the national guys saying some pretty good things about them and putting them pretty high up in their West standings, higher than FC Dallas a lot of times. So, but FC Dallas seems to have a really good record on opening games, especially at home. So I feel like they never lose really. But I think they'll win 2-1. But I'm thinking it's gonna be a more comfortable 2-1. I think it's gonna be like a 2-goal lead. They give up one, but they never really seem to.
He better
too in danger of blowing it. So 2-1 FC Dallas. Shit, I'll throw a couple goal scores in there. Let's go Franco.
Oh, you would be a goal scorer.
Franco and let's go Vargas. Let's go a debut goal for Vargas.
Yeah, okay, so that's the thing. Do you think Vargas starts? You guys have seen more of the offseason than I have, unfortunately. So
regardless of
after that preseason, you would think.
Regardless of what formation they play, Vargas is one of the guys that will for sure be there. The only question is if, like, based on formation, is if Brisson is starting. If they're playing 3 at the back, he will. If they're not, then obviously Brisson is going to probably be on the bench, and the starting center back pairing will be Martinez and Hedges. If they play 5 at the back, Vargas will be in. Vargas will be in no matter what, and so that's why I picked him. And Hara will be in there no matter what. So really, the only question is if Brisson is in the lineup or not. And then if you're playing 4 at the back, who's going to be your quote unquote 6? And hopefully it's Tessman. But I have a feeling FC Dallas is going to go with that 3-4-3 or 3-5-2, whatever you want to call it, that we saw against Houston. Because I don't know, I mean, it worked so well then. You kind of just want to roll with it going into the season, And I think that's their ceiling. Their highest ceiling is with that formation, just because you have to have really good players to play a possession-based style. There's a reason that the top teams in the world that do it have a pretty big wage bill. That's you can't really moneyball it and then play like a Man City or Barcelona or whatever. So I think it's their best formation, and I think it's what they're going to roll with. And I think FC Dallas wins 2-1. So I guess that pretty much takes us into the new season, boys. I'm thinking of some last notes. If you're listening, hey, join our fantasy league. I did say that I would give away. I have an FC Dallas autographed jersey that I got last year. That's just been sitting in my closet. I thought I'd make it a little more interesting because I know fantasy leagues can sometimes people are all in on it and like for 2 weeks and then lose interest. So maybe it'll give people a little more reason to keep playing. I don't know what happens if I win. I guess I get to keep it. That's my prize. So join that. I think I saw that Garrett Melser and Eddie Coton are both in the league, so that's fun. So we got we should get plenty of memes in the fantasy league. We got the FCD social guys in there. I'm trying to think of anyone else I noticed that was in it. Messi's in it, actually. He's a big MLS fantasy guy. He's a big SadFCDfans podcast listener. And he's all in on Maxi Urruti this year, strangely enough. I guess they're buds. But yeah, come play. Obviously free to enter. All levels welcome. None of us are real fantasy experts, I don't think, here. So yeah, come join that.
I got top 10%, I think, in FCD like 2 years ago, and that's why that was it. But I mean,
I don't think I've ever actually played a full season through.
Matt Hedges.
I think when I was really young, when I was in like middle school, I think I'd make a team.
I went more strategic. I picked Ryan.
I'd probably just like forget my password.
Wing back.
Look at. I could have been the number one in the world.
Question for you: is Matt Hedges in your fantasy lineup?
Literally the first player I picked whenever I picked the team.
Joe.
Ryan was in there too. Those are my only FCD guys.
Okay.
Goals. Yeah, that's a smart. I think he's a safe.
Hollingshead is kind of a cheat code.
You can get some goals and assists out of him.
He gets a lot
from your
points.
defenders, which is always a win.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Reto was a perfect fantasy guy. If you could,
because of PKs.
Yeah, because he scored goals more than a lot of wingers. So
yeah,
he was a perfect fantasy guy. And FC Dallas had a good defense too. So you get all kinds of points. But
yeah.
Diego Rossi is my captain. So I hope you're happy, Walter.
I am, because he's not my captain, but I do have him.
They're playing Austin first week, so I was like, they might.
Yeah, they're playing. They might demolish him a little bit.
Yeah, they might kick Austin's ass a little bit. So hopefully. All right, guys. Any last thoughts going into the season? You guys excited?
I'm excited. I wanted to bring this up to you guys. They announced that deal with Estrella TV.
Oh yeah,
which is pretty cool, as their Spanish partner for broadcast. So I thought it was pretty cool. A discussion for another day, but I think that's a good step into
that's huge
catering and reaching out more to the Hispanic community that they haven't done since they left the Cotton Bowl. So good step forward. I think that's cool.
Apparently, they still haven't put in any of the safe standing in the section that's supposed to be ready in 48
hours.
No,
I saw that tweet. I just saw that tweet, and
what a shit show.
It's and I tweeted this. It's a tale as old as time, as former leadership of a certain supporters group. It doesn't surprise me. It's sad to see, especially. I mean, the fact that they had to get out of the beer garden on the lower side because of the CBA was understandable, but they could have at least done something to stay at that level, or maybe put some stands up higher. I don't know, but it doesn't seem like FC Dallas really cared. But
they're going to be installing it while people are walking into the stadium. Still, they're going to be like, hold on,
it's like they're going to make you hold the bar while they're drilling it down.
38th minute before you can go stand down there because they're still getting it done.
Shit show.
But yeah,
but this is discussions for other times, or for text messages. Same old shit, man. Same old shit.
If y'all are, I'm going to be out there on Saturday night. Walter said, I think you said your sister was selfish enough to have a birthday or something this year. That nerve on her. So, I mean, if you see me, come say hi for those of you.
Where are you sitting? Are you sitting in the wedge again?
The wedge? No. I didn't. I sit close to the wedge. I sit in like 1 or 2 sections over from where the new section will be. So I'm excited that there's actually going to be some atmosphere by me. It's usually like half the noise from over there is me just yelling at players and officials. So now I look a little less crazy because there's people around. So I'm going to try to do my best to get the casuals around me involved, and hopefully we can build a decent atmosphere. And with the roof and stuff over there, I'm excited. I think it'll be pretty loud in there. And FC Dallas sold out the socially distanced sellout for the home opener. So, well, I mean, yes, Walter's doing air quotes right now, but that's every sport is always air quotes on attendance. But yeah, it'll be fun. I'm excited, and hopefully see some of you guys out there. Join the fantasy league, and go FCD. Thanks for listening, y'all.
Peace.